Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Most venerable sir, brothers and sisters in the Dharma, Katina, that's a Pali word. Pali means the language spoken by the Buddha. So Katina means immovable or unshakable, which means the merits or the good karma that you accrue, that you accumulate by sponsoring a Katina cannot be unshaken by the other smaller demerits, except the 5 weighty karmas. In Buddhism, we talk about 5 most serious offenses. You may already know about those 5, but for your further information, if you would like to know, the most serious offenses in Buddhism, number 1, if you kill your own mother, that's the most serious offense according to Buddhism. You're going to suffer. You can't get rid of that suffering. And number 2, if you kill your own father, you're going to suffer. And number 3, physically, if you hurt the Buddha and damage the Buddha, and if you shed the blood of the Buddha, it's going to be a serious bad karma. You're going to suffer. And number 4, if you kill an enlightened monk or an enlightened human being, an awakened monk, you're going to suffer. And number 5, if you cause disharmony among a harmonious group of monks. Monks are the people who guide the ordinary people spiritually to reach their salvation, or to reach enlightenment, or to realize the greatest happiness of Nibbana. So the monks' unity is really important to propagate Buddhism or teach Buddhism for those who need. So if you cause disharmony, or if you break the unity in between monks, it's going to be a serious bad karma. You're going to suffer for that. So besides those 5, if you sponsor a Katina, you get the potentiality or the ability to overcome your minor evil karmas. Right now I have a question. Can you overcome your evil karma? Yes, of course. Karma plays a major role in your life. But you are not supposed to depend on karma alone. For example, in Anguttara Nikaya, there's a special or particular sutra. In that sutra, in the discourse, the Buddha takes a nice example. It's a nice simile. People and monks ask the Buddha, "Oh Lord, can we overcome our evil karma?" The Buddha said, yes. How are you going to do that? Take a lump of salt and take a cup of water and put that lump of salt into the cup of water and stir the cup of water and drink it. The Buddha asked the question, how will be the taste? Everybody said it's going to be salty. Of course, when you put some salt into a cup of water and stir the cup of water and drink it, it's going to be salty. The same lump of salt, let's put into a river and stir the river and drink some water out of the river. How will be the taste? It's not salty. So the same way, if you do a lot of good karma, for example, let's say you are a 90% good person and 10% bad. 10% bad. that 10% does not have any ability to arise and affect you. You are 90% a good person. That's how you're going to overcome your evil karma. And if you are a 90% bad person and 10% good, sometimes that 10% doesn't have any ability to arise and affect you. Working of karma is different for different people. For example, I think I used this example like 4 years ago over here. I still love to use it. Let's keep $100 in here. A homeless gonna walk in. We are just talking and you're listening to me and we don't see him walking in. The younger generation use the word for stealing jack, right? This is the word they use. Let's say the homeless is going to jack your $100 bill. And it takes off. You're going to see him stealing your $100 bill and leaving. What are you going to do? You're going to catch him. Sometimes some people are going to beat him up, punch him, and call the cops. Then the cops gonna come and he's gonna get, I would like to use the word the young people use, busted. Busted. The homeless gonna get busted for jacking your $100 bill. For jacking your $100 bill. And finally, he's gonna go to the state prison. Young people call it go to vacation. He's gonna go on vacation for 6 months for stealing your $100 bill. So he had to suffer for doing that bad karma. And the same $100 bill, let's keep in here. President Obama gonna walk in. He's gonna see the $100 bill. Let's say he's gonna jack that $100 bill. And he takes off. He takes off. So you see him leaving and you see your $100 missing. I don't think you're going to beat him up. Let's say you're going to call the cops. You got to follow the law. You think he's going to go to the state prison for 6 months? I don't think so. He's the president of the country. That's how your karma going to work. If you are a 90% good person and 10% bad, that 10% doesn't have any ability to overcome and effect and to overcome your the good karma and affect you. It can't do it. So karma is really important, but do not depend on karma alone. Karma is a wonderful subject and a complex subject too. Once the Buddha said there are 4 things that you should not think too much. If you think too much about those 4, you become deranged. Or you're going to go crazy. Number 1, the power of the Buddha. To become the Buddha, he practiced millions of years. Not just in his last birth, he practiced millions of years to become the Buddha. That's why we call him the Buddha. The highest position of compassion and wisdom is called the Buddha. If you could reach that position, the highest position of the compassion and wisdom, that person is called the Buddha. That's why we call him the Buddha. We don't call him just Buddha, the Buddha. So, the power of the Buddha and the power of the dhyana. Dhyana is a Pali word. The meaning is like absorption. It's like the mystic power that you gain by practicing meditation and developing your mental culture. For example, those are just small things, like you can read somebody else's mind if you really practice meditation. You could read your previous birth. Those are just simple things, but dhyana or the mystic power is a complex subject. If you think too much, you're going to go crazy about that too. And the third one is karma vipaka, means the effects of your karma. It's going to affect you in different ways, many ways, kind of complex. And number 4, speculation about the nature of this world. So karma is one of those. What do you mean karma? Karma means action, right? The things that you do. Karma can be done physically, verbally, and emotionally. you can hurt people, and you can satisfy people too in those three ways. But when it comes to Buddhism, karma is not just action, it's intentional action. You have to have an intention to perform a karma, to create a karma, to commit a karma. Without intention, even if you do a bad karma, it doesn't have an effect. That's why the Buddha said the karma vipaka is kind of complex subject. For example, let's say you drive a car, somebody crossed the road, and you hit that person and you kill that person. Do you have the intention to kill that person? No. Some people try to explain karma as cause and effect. That's not a good explanation. There are two kinds of cause and effect: the worldly cause and effect and the karmic cause and effect. According to the worldly cause and effect, you hit that person and you kill that person. Then what's going to happen basically? The family members or the neighbors going to come. In some countries, they're going to take them out of the car and beat them up. Sometimes he's going to get killed too. And if it happens over here, we call 911. That according to the worldly cause and effect, he's going to be arrested. But when it comes to the karmic cause and effect, he didn't have the intention to kill that person. It's not going to affect him. That's why the karma is kind of a complex subject. So that's how your karma going to work. So what's the Buddha said? In Pali, Chetanaham bhikkhave kammam vadami. Oh monks, intention is karma, I'm saying to you. Intention is really important to create a karma, a good karma or a bad karma. So it's not just action, it's intentional action. Intention is really important. When you do with good intention, a good karma, it has effects. Without intention, if you do something, it doesn't have an effect. If you think that everything gonna be karma and everything gonna affect you, you can never realize nirvana. You can never enjoy your life. Because we do like that, such a lot of karmas, bad karmas too. When you are walking down, how many insects we're gonna step on, worms we step on and kill them. If you think like that, and you can never realize nirvana. Karma, the Buddha explained, it's going to affect you in many ways, many different ways. I will tell in Pali first, then I will explain you. Ditta Dhamma Vedaniya karma, Uppajja Vedaniya karma, Aparapariya Vedaniya karma, Kadatta karma, Ahosi karma, Achinna karma, Pravritti vipaka, Patisandhi vipaka, many ways. Ditta Dhamma Vedaniya karma means some of your karma gonna arise in your present life and affect you. In this life itself. It's not gonna wait till your next life. It's gonna arise and affect you in this present life. If not in this life, Uppajja Vedaniya karma, in your next life. In your next life. If not in next life, it's going to arise aparapara from time to time. You don't know, sometimes it just arises and affects you from time to time. If not in that way, kadatta karma. Kadatta karma means it just suddenly appears and affects you. Suddenly. That's why once the Buddha said, because of your karma, Ayo hutva daso hoti, daso hutva ayo hoti. The king today can be a slave tomorrow. A slave or a poor person can be a millionaire tomorrow. Working in that way, kadatta karma just suddenly appears and affects you. Then, ahosi karma. Ahosi karma is an act of thought that has no longer any potential force. Like, if you are a 10% bad, that 10% doesn't have any ability to arise and affect you. So some of your karmas, if you do a lot of karmas, they can arise and affect you. they're going to be in there. They don't have any ability to arise. That karma, ahos karma, so it's going to be like cancer, let's say. And achinna karma, when you're going to die, the last moment of your, when you're breathing to die, one of your good or a bad karma going to come and touch you. With that karma, you're going to go and settle somewhere else. For that we call the last death conscious thought, or the death proximate karma. There are two other ways that your karma going to affect you. Pravati vipaka, patisandhi vipaka. Patisandhi vipaka means that last death conscious thought. The last moment of your life, one of your good karma or a bad karma going to reach you and touch you. That's why in some Buddhist countries, most countries, when a person is dying, nobody's crying. It's going to hurt him. Along with that, crying is not acceptable in Buddhism. So he's going to get a bad rebirth. So that's why they don't cry. So that last death conscious thought, let's say, another example, okay, a 90% good person and 10% bad. When he died, one of his bad karma came and touched him. With that bad karma, he was born as a dog. But there's a big difference between dogs too. Sometimes the dogs are enjoying while guys are suffering. So, with that last death conscious thought, that person became a dog. But that dog is having a better life than guys. Getting food on time, and go to the beauty shop on time, get a nice bed to sleep, nice hairstyle, everything on time. You can't blame the dog for that. Because of that last death conscious thought, that person became a dog. But his pravritti means the other karma after your birth, 90% gone, because he has done a lot of good karma, that 90% going to arise and affect that dog. That's why dog is enjoying, let's say. And the same way, a 90% bad person and 10% good person, when he was dying, one of his good karma came and touched him. With that good karma, he became another human being. Even though he is born in a rich family, let's say United States, the heaven and the earth. How many people are suffering here too? Even though they have food, they become homeless. Even though they got the opportunity, they don't want to use it. So that 90% bad, even though he is born as a human being, even though that person gets food on time, he doesn't want to eat. Even though he gets nice clothes, he don't want to dress them. So he's just suffering his life because he has done a lot of bad karma. That bad karma going to affect him. It means your patisandhi vipaka, or the last death conscious thought, is really important to get a nice rebirth. What do you mean rebirth? When we die, we leave our physical body in here. And our mental part. In Mahayana Buddhism, they use the word gandhabba. Gandhabba means the last death conscious thought. It's gonna settle somewhere else. It doesn't go alone. It goes with your good and bad karma that you have done during your lifetime. So, your patisandhi vipaka, the last death conscious thought, gonna find you a good or a bad rebirth. And the pravritti vipaka means the other karma that you have done during your lifetime gonna affect you. So it means your karma is really important to have a better life. Even though you have done a lot of bad karma, if you are born in a rich family, rich place, that's why I said earlier, karma plays a major role in your life, but you are not supposed to depend on karma alone. Because you are having a better environment, so sometimes that small bad karmas can affect you. They don't have any potentiality to arise and affect you. So your karma is really important. So this Katina ceremony is one of the most powerful karmas in Buddhism that we talk about. So that's why like we get like 3 months retreat. So end of the retreat, we make a special robe. We call it Katina robe. People in Malaysia and Singapore, they call it a robes offering ceremony. You see a lot of yellow, like thousands of yellow robes on that day. Why do monks wear the yellow robe? Do you have any idea? Why do they wear the yellow robe? Basically, yeah, yes, you got it. And usually this is the color that everybody wears. But we have selected colors. The reason for that, when monks go to the huge, large forest to practice meditation, some wild animals like buffaloes, they couldn't stand this color. They used to attack the monks. That's why they get the other colors like the dark color, similar to the nature. That's why they use it. You know the leaves of a tree become yellow when they are about to leave the tree, right? During the fall, they become yellow, different color. Usually they are green, but they change the color when they are about to leave the tree. So once they become yellow, sooner or later they're going to leave out of the tree. So the monks, it means this is an example of impermanence. Everything is impermanent. And there's another meaning. Once the leaves become yellow, they leave the tree. And the enlightened monks, that's also their last birth. Once they become enlightened, they're not going to be born again. This is a symbol of enlightenment too. In Pali, we use the word Arahat Daja, which means the enlightened monk's robe. That's why in some Buddhist countries, they say the yellow robe is greater than the national flag sometimes. That's why when the national anthem is played, usually the monks don't raise out of their chairs, because this is a symbol of a nation. Yellow robe is a symbol of a nation. That's the reason. So they wear this color in their last birth. So it means enlightenment. One is impermanence, the other one is enlightenment. That's the meaning of this color, even though they use the other colors to practice meditation in the jungles. That's why when the rain retreat started, like if we go to the history of this rain retreat, like during the month of July, August, during that time, during the Buddhist time, it was raining heavily. But the Buddha's advice was to teach people, to guide people to find their salvation. So, or nirvana, or enlightenment, or awakening. That's why. So even during the rain retreat, during the rain season, they didn't care about the rain. They were just walking down the street here and there and teaching people, guiding people, teaching the teaching of the Buddha. The other religious followers during that time in India, they accused the Buddhist monks. They are walking down the street, they step on the insects and the worms, they kill them and they kill the plants. So they do a lot of bad karma, they accused. Buddha was kind of flexible all the time. So Buddha checked it out, and Buddha also said, okay, let's use this rain retreat, this rainy season to make it as a retreat. So the Buddha said, during these 3 months, please don't go out. Stay in a particular place and practice meditation, and let people come into the temple, and let them get your advice and practice meditation, and let them find their salvation in the temple. That's why when the rain retreat starts, sounds like thousands of monks, they used to go to the huge forest. And they make a special place and start practicing meditation like 3 months. So end of the 3 months, there was one major sponsor, like Pushpanuna and the family is doing today. So they sponsor for the Katina ceremony, like they made a special robe and they bestow it to the monks. That's how this rain retreat started. Right now, even though we don't have that kind of rain in this part of the world, but we still practice and do it. This is a good chance for lay people to come to the temple and join with monks and do a lot of like dharma discussions and practice meditation and get some guide, help and advice, and to find their salvation or nirvana. We call it nirvana. Salvation is the common word we use, that's why I'm using it. But nirvana has a different meaning. What do you mean nirvana? Do you have any idea about that nirvana? Okay, let's talk about that. In Pali, vana means craving, attachment, or desire, or attachment to these materialistic things. Vana. So ni means no. So tanha khayo nirodho nibbana, the Buddha said. If you eradicate, or if you terminate your craving or desire, attachment to this world, materialistic world, it means ni. So the prefix ni we place before the word vana and we make a word nirvana, which means no craving, no attachment. Because sometimes people think nirvana is located in a place. Nirvana is not located at any place. Nirvana is located within you. People think it's like United States or it's like a heaven, it's a nice place, we want to go there and settle down too. It's not a place. So nirvana is located within you. Within you. That's why the Buddha followed the middle path and realized it. It's just realization. It takes maybe millions of years. We believe the rebirth, so it keeps going. So that's why we don't decide our life, in this life we go to hell or heaven. We don't decide like that. Even if you go to hell, let's say, you still have the potentiality to get out of it and become enlightened. That's how it goes. So the Buddha, that's why the Buddha tried to, the Prince Siddhartha, that was his name. He wanted to find the solution for the suffering of mankind. He was enjoying his life like a prince. When he was 16, he was married, according to the custom at that time in India. Then when he was 29, he left the kingdom. We call it the Great Renunciation. He renounced. And he became an ascetic, or he became a monk. So from 29 to 36, he was practicing hard, because those days in India, they had an idea that they could reach their salvation or nirvana if you suffer your life a lot. If you don't eat good, if you don't do nothing, just sitting and just looking at something for the whole year, they thought they were going to get nirvana in that way. And there were two extremes. We still talk about that. Search for happiness through sensual pleasure. That's number one. Even though you satisfy your senses with eating, drinking, and having a better life, like enjoying with materialistic things, in the end you feel the unsatisfactoriness. Whatever we enjoy in this world, in the end it is unsatisfactoriness. Sometimes you would say we are getting old. Yes, we have accepted, but do you like to be sick? Do you like to be old? No. Even though it is truth, we have accepted, but we don't like to be. That's why till 29 he was enjoying his life. Then he realized this is not the way to find the salvation. So I should leave my palace. Then he left the palace. When he was leaving, it was so hard for him to leave his family. He had a child, he had a wife. But he thought, even though I am sacrificing my child, my life, and I am leaving my child and wife in here, one day, because of my sacrifice, they're going to benefit too. They're going to benefit too. So finally they got the benefit of that sacrifice. So from 29 to 36, 35, he was suffering. He practiced hard, but he couldn't get nothing. Then finally he decided this is not the way. I had to find the other way, the middle path. When you live two extremes, the middle path is in there. So he practiced the middle path. He did not enjoy his life thoroughly and he did not suffer his life too. So in between that he found the middle path. He followed the middle path and at the age of 35, he was enlightened. He was awakened. I would like to use that word, awakened. He was awakened. And from 35, so he discovered the suffering, which means the Four Noble Truths, suffering, dukkha, we use, or unsatisfactoriness. Then the arising of suffering or unsatisfactoriness, dukkha samudaya. Then dukkha nirodha. If there is suffering, there should be a root cause for that. If there's a reason or a root cause of suffering, there should be a way to eradicate it. So he found the way, dukkha nirodha, cessation of suffering. For that there should be a way, so he found the middle path and the Eight Noble Path. Right understanding, right livelihood, right thinking, and those right concentration, right mindfulness, those 8. And that's the way. Dukkha nirodha gamini patipadaya satcha. The path leading to the cessation of suffering. For those four we call the Four Noble Truths. When you realize practicing meditation, developing your mental culture, you're going to realize nirvana. That's what he did. And the Buddha clearly said, I can just guide you to find your salvation or nirvana, but I can't take you over there. It's your job. It's your duty to walk the path. It's my job or my duty to guide you. Tummehi kiccanga tappo atappanga khataro tathagata. I'm just a guide. I can just show you the way. It's your job or it's your duty to walk the path, to tread the path. The Buddha is just a guide. The Buddha clearly said, I am not a savior. The man is his own master. The man is his own destiny. So there's no one behind you to punish for your good and to give happiness for you, to punish for your bad and to give happiness for your good. There's no one. So the man is his own master. So if you do good, you're going to enjoy, and if you do bad, you're going to suffer. That's what he said. And in the end, when you do those things and practice meditation, do a lot of charity, and when you discipline yourself, those things going to help you to realize nirvana, or the greatest happiness of nirvana. That's why we are organizing these kinds of ceremonies, and we are doing this, and we practice meditation. We offer dana. Dana means the offering, the things that we offer, not just for monks, for other people too. It's kind of dana. So dana is really important to realize nirvana, because vana means craving. When you offer, when you donate things, you're gonna leave it. You're gonna eradicate, terminate your craving, which means nirvana. So you've been doing this, and you are making a lot of good karma. That's what the Buddha wanted to do. And when people are chasing the materialistic things, they slowly they are getting away from this spiritual side. That's why we see a lot of crimes and a lot of bad things in this world. They don't care about that. But once you practice a lot of good karma, for example, sometimes the people think, oh, I'm doing bad, I'm drinking, I'm smoking, so I'm not supposed to do any good. That's not a good idea. That's not a good idea. Let's say, let's take this. Let's say, this is kindness. All these, like hatred and jealousy and unkindness and all the bad qualities are around here. So this is good. Let's say this is kindness. When you practice meditation and when you do good karma, let's say this is gonna be sullen. If this one becomes sullen, what's gonna happen to these? They're gonna fall out of this tray. So the same way, when you do a lot of good karma, when you practice meditation, when you do charity, so like this flower becomes sullen, your compassion going to be greater than the bad thing. Then they generally leave your body. they generally leave your body. So even if you are doing bad, you can still get rid of them by doing a lot of good things, like the water in the river mixed with the salt. So even though people think I am bad, I am doing this, so I can go to the temple, but you could still do that. Like this flower becomes swollen and all these things gonna fall out of the tray. The same way when you practice meditating, doing good things, these things gonna fall out of the tray. So your body generally gonna leave, you're gonna feel, I don't want to drink anymore, I don't want to smoke anymore. You're gonna feel like that. Those things are natural. That's why your intention to do something is really important. In the meantime, you have to enjoy your life too, but not disturbing others. Buddhism talks a lot about your present life. Buddha even talk about the economy, how to invest, and Buddha talk about how to invest, how to enjoy your life, and how to donate, and how to make money. We have another totally different subject about Buddhist economic system. So Buddha first asks you to enjoy your present life. Buddha never ever asks you to sacrifice your present life instead of your next life, for the sake of your next life. Buddha never said. Buddha said, enjoy your present life, do good, avoid bad, purify your mind. This is the teaching of the Buddha. When you enjoy your present life without disturbing others, you are happy. You're happy. Then you don't have to go to the temple or to the church and pray for a happy life. What most people do, they do a lot of bad things and they go to the temple or they go to the church and they pray for a better life. They ask for happiness. Can they get it? No. They can't get it because they are just praying. That's why the practice is really important. That's why we call the Buddhism is kind of do-it-yourself religion. Do it yourself. You may call it a religion or a philosophy or any word. The labels that we give religions has very little importance. Let's take this flower again. This one, let's say, smells sweet. Let's call it rose. And let's change the name of this, but it still smells sweet, right? Even if you change the name. It's the same way. Even if you call Buddhism a religion, philosophy, or way of life, it still smells sweet. So the label that we give religion has very little importance. Very little importance. So in this way, the Buddhism talk a lot about your human life. Present life, then the future life, then how you're going to realize Nirvana. And I'll give you, because we believe in rebirth, you heard about Dalai Lama, right? Okay, Dalai Lama was invited by a church in England like a few years ago. And he's a joker sometimes. And he said to the people, I think I'm luckier than you. And everybody was looking at him because you have been given only one life to prepare for your salvation. And I have been given thousands of lives to prepare for my salvation. So within one life, you have to decide you have to go to the hell or heaven. Then everybody was laughing, everybody liked him. So it means when it comes to Buddhism, you have millions of lives. You have millions of lives to prepare for your salvation. So you sponsor the Katina today, and you do a lot of merits, and you perform these good things, and you generate a lot of good karma, and they're going to help you to enjoy your present life. And they're going to be like a saving for your future lives. That's why your karma is really important. So Katina karma is a really, really important thing. That's why you sponsored, you came to the temple, and you were doing all these good things to enjoy your present life and the future lives too. I think that's good enough for you to understand about Katina and those things. Do you have any question about this talk? About what I said today? Like about Katina or robe or something like that? Like impermanence, we talk about impermanence too, right? So impermanence means like everything is changing, nothing is, in Buddhism we talk about like 3 universal characteristics. Everything is subject to those 3. Anicca, impermanence. Dukkha, unsatisfactoriness. Anatta, soullessness. We don't believe in soul. Soul means permanent, it goes and it settles. The Buddha said, if everything is changing, how come there are going to be a soul? So we say soullessness, anatta. Anicca means impermanence. For example, like scientists discovered or created the element atom. They say that's the last particle. It can be divided into many pieces. That's the last element, the last particle of an element, atom. And again they said atom becomes molecules. So you can divide atom too. And finally, recently they said the molecule becomes God's particle. They give another name. They create another element. So anicca, everything is changing. The time duration you close your eye and open it, you don't see the same people. You don't see the same people. They have changed. But you don't see it right away. It takes many years to realize. It takes many years. I remember when I became a monk when I was just 11 years old. Right now I see my change. I have changed a lot now. Getting old. So getting old, getting sick and dying. So that's the suffering of mankind. So to get rid of that, we have realized we want to stop this reincarnation or the rebirth life circle. That's what the Buddha discovered. That's why we call it nirvana. When you have the attachment, like my children, my parents, my things, my house, my car, as long as you have the attachment, you keep going in this life circle. If you eradicate it, for that we call nirvana. It's not easy. It's not easy. It takes like years, millions of years sometimes. So anicca, impermanence. It means changing, right? So anicca, if there is changing or impermanence, it is unsatisfied. Unsatisfactoriness, dukkha. Dukkha means unsatisfactoriness. For example, when you see the gray hair, you're sad, right? Everybody. I don't like to be old too. Nobody likes to be old.
Not me.
Don't die. We like this way.
Yeah, but you like to be old, right? Nobody want to be old. Everybody want to be young forever. That's an American dream too. To be young, wealthy, and to be young, famous, and wealthy forever. It's an American dream too. So everybody want to be young. So when there is changing, anicca, impermanence, it is suffering. It is unsatisfactory. The unsatisfactoriness is in there. We are not happy. When there is anicca and dukkha, there is soullessness, no soul, anatta. That's why we use that word. So everything is subject to these 3. That's why we try to get out of this samsara, or this existence of continuity. Do you have any questions now?
So if one were to commit a cardinal offense that you described, the killing of the mother, the father, shaking the Buddha, that's also subject to impermanence.
Yeah, you're gonna suffer, but you could get rid of that too. But not sponsoring a Katina, you're gonna suffer, but you still got the potentiality. It means when you do those things, it doesn't go away from your memory for a long time.
Right.
That's why Buddha explained in details, like those 5 offenses are very serious. For example, if you kill a regular human being and a mother, there's a big difference. Because that thing gonna hurt you a lot. Your mother, you're gonna feel it. That's what Buddha said. That's not forgettable. That's in Pali he used the word ananta. You can't forget it. You can forget it.
So eventually the red flower can still bloom and not the
Of course,
bad
you got to generate a lot of good karma, then it's going to go out of your memory or out of your body, and you still can realize nirvana.
And the karma that's carrying you into the rebirth, even with these cardinal offenses, is subject to impermanence.
Yes. Yeah, it's going to change too, but it may take years, but it's going to change too.
So But there is the cause and condition of the thought at the moment of death, it
Yes.
sounds like.
Yeah. Along with
So-
that thought, you can be born a human being or another person, but if you have done one of those things, it's gonna affect you, and you still can get rid of that too, but doing a lot of good things.
Anything can be raised.
Exactly. Just able to talk about the impermanence of soullessness, and that everything can be permanent. That's why when they found the atom, they said the atom becomes molecules, then it becomes God's particle, keep changing and changing and changing and changing. So the accumulation of lot of thousands of atoms maybe become a human being or some materialistic case.
Yeah, the God particle, I guess, changes so quickly that
Yes.
that's why they have to use
Yes.
very special
Yes,
methods of,
Method, yeah.
of even seeing it.
yeah. The tiniest thing you can even see with your naked eye, but it's gonna change too. That's impermanence. In time is
I
all.
will ask one question about the vijnana. Suppose a person is in a coma and maybe hooked up to machines and ready to die on the surgical table. Do we know what time the vijnana leave the body?
Yeah, well, some people could say, but some people can't. That's why the Buddha said you can't say where you're gonna be born, and where you're gonna die. Those things are not predictable. What time and where and what time exactly you're gonna be dead.
Even though you got to
Yeah,
machine
yeah.
it's
Some
sort of
people
like-
gonna feel. I heard like some people could read what they were doing. The surgery and things, they could read it.
The brain dead is the time the vijnana separate from the body. The
brain
the
dead.
doctor said that is brain dead, not the heart, the brain.
If they can keep the heart alive, the vijnana can still come and settle down.